from the station that's on your side. This is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Tonight at 6, we're going back in time to the old days of Augusta, around the time Martin Luther King Jr. preached during the Civil Rights Movement. See how our local Black History Museum is opening up their doors this year in just a moment. But first, just after the Georgia Bulldogs celebrated their back-to-back championship title, they lost one of their own players last night. Athens-Clarke County officials say 20-year-old Devin Wilcock and staff member Chandler LaCroix passed away after a car crash earlier this morning. And this is footage of Coach Kirby Smart with Wilcock waiting during their big game against the TCU Horned Frogs a weekend ago. Officials told our sister station out in Atlanta, LaCroix was driving down a road with Wilcock and two other players when she lost control of the wheel and crashed into two power poles and several trees. They say Wilcock died at the scene and LaCroix died from her injuries at the hospital. Officers say player Warren McClendon and another passenger, Victoria Bowles, were injured. The university issued a statement saying they're in stable condition right now, and the entire Georgia family is devastated by the news of Wilcock and LaCroix's death. They say the university's athletic association will work with medical and mental health personnel on campus to make sure they are providing the best support to the team and the staff. Coach Smart released a statement as well on social media saying Wilcock was always smiling and a joy to coach. He says the team is grieving with their families during this tragic loss and will try to support them in every possible way. Our hearts and thoughts go out to those in the UGA community affected as well. And back here, it's MLK weekend, and while parades and celebrations have been going on, it's important to take a look back at his influence. Even here in the CSRA, MLK, our Sydney Hood takes us just outside of downtown Augusta, where Dr. King made one of his last impressions.
One of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s last speeches took place right here inside Beulah Grove Baptist Church. It was March 1968, less than a month before he was assassinated. The trip was his second to the Garden City, in a time when everything really was black and white. His visit serves as a reminder of his ties to various communities across the South and the country. And on a day where everyone comes together to celebrate everything he fought for, it's also a reminder of the others who stood on his shoulders.
It's a celebration of the individual. It's a celebration of the man, of the icon, Dr. King. But it's also a reminder of all the other people that made his iconic status possible.
And it's coming up tonight, all new on News 12 at 11 o'clock. We take you deeper into the ties Dr. King had in Augusta and what the day named for his legacy means for our local history. In Augusta, Sydney Hood, on your side.
From the station that's on your side, this is News 12, NBC 26 at 11.
Well, good evening. We're going back in time as the museum prepares to walk the community through with local leaders and legends from around the area, around the time of our nation, celebrating civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., who was assassinated in 1968. Well, it's MLK weekend, and while parades and celebrations have been going on, it's important to take a look back at his influence, even here in the CSRA. Our Sydney Hood joins us live in the studio. And Sydney, you visited some of our own local areas where they are honoring Dr. King's legacy tomorrow. What's going on?
Well, Craig, on a day where many are off, the Lucy Craft Laney Museum is on. That's what historian Corey Rogers told me. The museum is normally closed on Mondays, but tomorrow is different. It's intended to remind people of the rich history stored in Augusta on a day honoring the man who fought for the rights of so many.
I sincerely hope that we can forget the confusion of the past.
Oftentimes we think of him as this national icon, but Dr. King had connections to a variety of communities,
including right here in our backyard.
In April of 1962, Dr. King spoke at Tabernacle Baptist Church. He would come back to Augusta 6 years later.
It was March 1968, a time when the Garden City was still facing segregation.
He spoke at Beulah Grove Baptist Church. That would be his last trip to Augusta.
More than 50 years later since that trip, his legacy remained.
When you talk about Dr. King, and you talk about civil rights, you have to also talk about the Reverend C.S. Hamiltons of the world and the Reverend N.T. Youngs of the world. All of these people I think about during this holiday because they, like Dr. King, put their lives on the line for equality in this country.
Their history, among others, lives at the Lucy Craft Laney Museum of Black History.
Our history is important. The city's history is important. Black history goes far beyond just history devoted to a particular group of people.
It's that history lesson Corey Rogers wants to pass on.
I hope that when people come here tomorrow or in any time in the future, they'll learn a little bit about their history, be able to take that history with them.
Those Monday tour times at the Lucy Craft Laney Museum will be at 10:30 and 11:30 in the morning, and then again at 2:30 in the afternoon. In addition, there will be days of service activities you can partake in. For more information on that, be sure to check out this story on our website at wrdw.com.
Great stuff. I had no idea that MLK made a trip one last time through Augusta. It really just connects us here in the CSRA. Thank you for that coverage, Sydney Hood.
Great story, for sure.
And now we're going to toss things over to a look at the weather with First Alert meteorologist Kellyanne Harding. How's it looking for this week?
Well, it's going to be a cold start for Martin Luther